Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. Kinsey and I have been off of the Ask an Expert hosting routine for probably like 4 or 5 weeks now, and I'm literally not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be at a networking event right now. I was supposed to leave 15 minutes ago, and I knew that Kinsey and Lauren were getting ready for this Ask an Expert, and I couldn't help myself but to get on. And I told them I wasn't going to actually join, but here I am doing the intro because I can't help it. And because I'm excited to be part of Ask an Expert this week. Lauren Sprieser, beloved Ride IQ coach and Grand Prix Dressage rider and USCF bronze, silver, and gold medalist with distinction, and I'm going to learn what with distinction means from Lauren, is here with us. And we are doing member video reviews, which is probably my favorite Ask an Expert topic because we just get to watch how cute your horses are, how awesome all of you are. And it's really helpful to see like what Lauren sees and what she recommends. I feel like it puts some more tools in our tool belt, which is always good. So I'll stop talking and just say, Lauren, I know you're so busy and we're always so grateful when you give us your time. So thank you for spending this time with us and helping all these people who have sent their videos in.
It is always a pleasure to see you guys and to help out.
So Lauren, what does with distinction mean?
I should have studied up on what it means. I don't remember. I think it has to do with exceeding the requirements for your medals. Like your medals are about 60.0% or better, and I think distinction is maybe like 65% or better. I don't know. Whatever. I don't actually care.
You're amazing. Whatever it is, I know it means you're amazing, which we already knew. We didn't need the with distinction for that. I also have another question that's going to show how much I don't know, which is it the norm to, when you are discussing medals, to say it in the backwards order, like USCF bronze, silver, and gold medalists, or gold, silver, and bronze, or it doesn't matter?
I don't know. I've never thought about it, honestly. I don't know.
I write a lot of like bios for people, and I'm like, am I sounding like I don't know what I'm talking about? So I guess
I do know what I'm talking about, and I don't know what I'm talking about. So you have my permission to. You could go silver, bronze, and gold. You can go crazy. You'd say whatever you want in my own personal bio.
All right, a shuffle. All right. So before we get into the videos, tell us where you are and one highlight of the past week, just like a bright moment, big or small.
I am coming to you from my dining room, which is also my kitchen and my living room in my tiny Wellington, Florida apartment. What is a victor of the last week? I'm having a dumpster fire of a week, so you guys get to be the highlight of my week because it's only Wednesday. And we were just discussing it's really sad that this is just water. It is a bummer. So I'm happy to see all of you turn my frown upside down.
Likewise, you're doing the same for me. So it's mutual. I'm sorry it's been a dumpster fire every week. I really hope I hope the second half of the week just surprises you with how great it is. Okay, I'll hand over the reins to Kinsey, who's actually hosting tonight, and I'll stick around as long as I can. Maybe I'll just miss this networking event. Who knows?
Perfect. Well, Lauren, I am so excited. I know I already told you this before we went live, but I've been looking forward to this all day, and I purposely did not preview the videos because I like to be surprised along with you with how beautiful these horses and riders are. But we have a lot to get through, and I don't know if we're going to get through them all, but I want to get us started and stop the chit chat so that we can get through as many of these as possible.
Shut up and get to work is what you're saying. Shut up.
Exactly. I'm telling me and Justin that more than you because we can ramble. Okay. So our first video tonight is Kim Reeves and her wonderful horse, Norman. And I'm going to pull that up right now. And then as it's playing, I will tell you what her questions are. 1 second, bear with me.
I had an aloe plant in college named Norman.
We had a dog growing up named Norman. He was the best. Okay, so here we have Kim Reeves and Norman, and she said this is at the RRP makeover in October. Norman is 7 years old, thoroughbred, raced 47 times, and retired in November 2021. He started back to work in January of 2022 and was green AF. Her words, not mine. And at the makeover, and still is, laughy face. I'd love Lauren's feedback on what we should be focusing on to improve our scores, be better as a team.
So, Kim, my hat off to you for taking a thoroughbred off the track. It is not an easy venture with any type of horse to take them from being sort of trained and programmed to go one way and then teaching them something totally different. Retraining is so much harder than training in the first place because everything they think they know is now wrong. And you have to take a horse that hopefully has a good work ethic and a kind heart and be like, nope, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, like the whole time. And that sucks. And I will say this, like, I am not a horse racist. All breeds and all types are welcome here in dressage land. Dressage is good for all types of horses. But when we're talking about thoroughbred horses, oh, hello, you know, we're talking about horses that were put on this earth to turn oats into miles. The thoroughbred horse is really energy efficient. They want to spend minimum energy covering maximum ground. And dressage is all about being energy inefficient. It's about using maximum energy to cover minimum ground. So Norman here is a really efficient mover. He doesn't bend his knees a lot. He doesn't bend his hocks a lot because that's a waste when you're trying to run 6 furlongs really fast. So what we need to find for Norman is as much swing through the back as humanly possible. And I'm looking here, Kim, at your canter, and you're very much riding like you're either ready for him to buck you off or ready for him to jump something. And you're in dressage tech. Neither of those things are going to happen. Well, maybe he's going to buck you off. I don't know. But so far, so good. You're really braced against your stirrup here. You're putting all of your force down into the stirrup iron. And into the stirrup leather, which is connected to the stirrup bar on the tree of the saddle at the part that is the narrowest. That is where the stirrup bar is. And it corresponds to the part in the horse's back that lifts the most. So when you slam your mass down into the stirrup iron, it is basically putting a vice grip into his back. And this is already a breed type of horse that doesn't necessarily want to be like the most supple and elastic thing in the history of the world. You're not helping him at all by having that sort of defensive leg. So I want you to bend your knees. I want you to carry your own leg, and I want you to sit in the saddle. You can post the trot. That's not what I mean. But like when you're in the saddle, I want you to bend your knees and keep your weight in your seat rather than slamming your heels down into the stirrup irons. And then we've got to talk about his general shape. Obviously, I don't think it's going to come as a super surprise to you that was maybe not like the roundest or most relaxed walk in the history of the universe. Now it's also this giant freaking arena at the Kentucky Horse Park. Like that is the biggest, scariest arena that I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen some stuff. So like, good boy for paying any attention to you in that kind of environment at all. Norman looks like a super good egg. But you have my permission to ride him more on the bit, particularly in the walk. I hope that you're working with an excellent coach who's helping you with some of the riding to help this horse relearn, or rather, learn for the first time. Relearn a rounder, more elastic shape, particularly in the walk. And that's the beautiful thing about the walk is that helping him find a roundness in the walk is like going to pay you dividends and all other things. It's low impact. You're never going to hurt a horse by riding too much walk. Like, come on. And all of that top line that you're going to build by riding him more on the bit in the walk is going to pay you major dividends in the trot and the canter. I'm guessing we're about to pick up the canter again. And I'm going to guess that you're going to brace down against that stirrup. Oh, my internet's a little slow. Yeah. And so like he's having a little bit of a hard time finding that right lead canter. Yep. I think that's probably not the best transition you've ever done in your life. I'm sorry that happened to you in the ring. This is the retired racehorse makeover project. Like you haven't had endless time with this horse, and you really pulled him very freshly off the track. Like I think you've done a super admirable job. What a good guy. Excuse me. And with time, he's going to go more like a dressage horse and less like a racehorse. But bend your knees, carry your leg. It's going to help him find a rounder way of going. Good boy, Norman.
I love Norman so much. You can just his expression throughout that whole video was just like, he's a happy guy. You can just tell. I love that. And that was so helpful, Lauren. Like, man, there's a lot of really, really valuable snippets in there. That was awesome. And Kim, if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to put them in chat and I'll relay them to Lauren. But yeah, that was great. That just, I'm already in such a better mood after having watched the video with Norman. Okay, so without further ado, our next wonderful video is the wonderful Holly. And let me pull this video up before I start rambling on about Holly and Archie. It's less time efficient when I'm doing this all by myself versus when Jessa's here. We can talk and do this at the same time. Okay, so this is Holly and Archie. Archie is an 11-year-old paint gelding, and this is their second beginner novice. Holly would love feedback on improving their scores, particularly anything to help improve the canter. He's not lazy, but he's pretty sensitive off the aids, actually. But he's little and short-strided and likes to suck back under me and canter basically up and down like a carousel horse. We also have trouble with the trot work, the second direction, or immediately after the canter, as Archie is now ready to go straight to the cross-country course and tends to run through me. She included the score sheet as well, if that's helpful.
I don't need a score sheet. I generally know what they're saying. So first of all, this is a beautiful jacket. I think this is a really pretty green jacket, maybe. So like fashion, good job. Here's my grand unified theory on horses. Whatever they want to do, don't do that. So he wants to go Mach 7 with his hair on fire. Okay, no, he doesn't. Like, that's a perfectly reasonable canter. But let's say that he wants to get all tight and balled up and hold you hostage. It sounds like what you're experiencing is that after he's cantered, he's like, well, yeah, man, if you wiggle an eyelash hair, I'm outie. So I then ride them like I'm the cowboy sacking a horse out on the range. My leg becomes a flour sack. And I'm going to flop my leg around. I'm going to flop my elbows around with a really low energy. I'm not going to get tight and nervous about it, but I'm just going to say, listen, son, like, you're not allowed to hold me hostage. I am allowed to move and I'm allowed to influence you even after we've cantered. Archie, you're pretty cute. I don't know the eventing tests. I think we're just going round and round. This is the eventing test, by the way, where you come down the center line and then just like make a random right turn, which what the hell? USEA test rating committee. What are you doing? Excuse me. I'm waiting for the infamous second canter. Well, it looks like mommy knows the canter is coming and mommy's a little nervous about it because all of a sudden mommy has slowed to a snail's pace. And somehow Archie gave you a good transition anyway. Lucky girl, Archie saved your ass. Go forward into your transitions. And you're an event rider, for Christ's sakes. Giddy up. Come on. Listen to me. I'm going to like cluck at everyone today. So, you know, it's interesting hearing her version of events versus what I see. I'm like, come on, buddy. Like, yippee-ki-yay, let's go. And yes, for sure, this is not much like the first horse. Like, this is not the biggest, most elastic, most supple, and most swingy creature on the planet. Okay, he's who you've got. Let's go forward. Let's go confidently from the hind leg to the bridle. Let's maximize your accuracy and ride on. I find in general that the horses that win, I mean, yeah, big, fancy, expensive moving horses, like, great. You know, that's wonderful. That sounds really nice. But if you don't have that, then you want to make your horse most look like what the judge wants to take home to ride themselves. And right now, you know, especially for that second canter, it looks like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Now here we've got some tension. This is legitimate tension. And so my homework assignment for you, my friend, is that you are going to make free walk to working walk to free walk to working walk to free walk to working walk to free walk to working walk about 5 million times per ride. And a little bit the same thing as I was mentioning earlier, like if you've got a horse that gets anticipatory and like, oh, I'm not going, you know, if you put your leg on, I'm going to buck you off. Say, great, I'm calling your bluff. I'm going to flop around. I'm going to move my leg. I'm allowed to tell you what to do, sir, because I pay your farrier bill, so shut up. Good job. Go more forward. You can do it.
Aw, Archie.
Marky.
Lauren, this is the first video review where I feel like you're actually teaching a lesson. Well, like I feel like these Holly in this case could just listen to this recording while she's riding and it would like go more forward, go more forward, go more forward. And it would be very effective. So something to think about. Next recording is just Lauren
saying go more forward every 5 seconds.
Go more forward.
Almost never the wrong answer.
Yeah, I feel like, couldn't hurt. That was awesome. And I'm, as the peanut gallery, my feedback for that test is just going to be, Holly, whatever you're doing to make Archie look really shiny, it's working. It's working really well. So those are my 2 cents. And someone in the chat, I'm sorry, I can't see your name because I'm looking at it within this software. Someone in the chat just said, Lauren, your hair looks great. So
Thanks. I showered today.
It worked. Okay. The next wonderful rider is Lee. And let me pull up Lee's video and then I'll give you the background on Lee. So Lee said this is part of her dressage test from last November with Tiz. Tiz, a 7-year-old thoroughbred who really likes to curl, so have been working on staying more out. It has improved, but still a work in progress. This is beginner novice 3-phase, and she believes they scored around 32, which is their average score. She said she recently rode along to your trot canter collection on a 1 to 5 scale lesson and was wondering how to best work on the 1-speed impulsion collection without pulling on the face and having the frame change. She said, I understand how, but actually having it happen doesn't always work. So looking to see if it could be explained differently for a green horse. She said she really enjoyed this lesson and was a good lesson that fits with what she typically works on. And she's added it to her favorites list. And then she's also asking for any other lessons you would recommend or exercises for a horse that wants to curl, but working on getting him out 100% of the time.
I'm pretty sure you guys have taken live what I call the Frisian exercise. I did a lesson on it where it's a 3-loop serpentine on a 20-meter circle. And if the Luck sisters haven't put that one on the app yet, you guys should. It's a really good one. I call it my Frisian exercise. Sorry, Kinsey.
I don't think so. It's not ringing any bells, but I'm going to search the library. But awesome. If we haven't yet, it's coming soon.
Sweet. Well, I'll take you guys through it now. I call it my Frisian exercise because I've never met a Frisian who actually went to the bridle. And I teach a lot of people on them or that type of horse. Obviously, it's not a problem that is limited to Frisians. Somebody on Facebook says she rode through that one yesterday. I swear to God, it went live. At any rate, 3-loop serpentine on a 20-meter circle. And I love that 1 to 5 exercise. Like I use that a million times a day. But the 20-meter circle 3-loop serpentine exercise is also great because for the horses who don't touch the reins, one of the problems is that when you go to influence their miles an hour, sometimes they just put their chins on their chest and keep blasting off. So I think, the problem that you said you were experiencing, which is that when you try and coil him back from 5 to 1, he goes, well, I'm going to stick my head up in the air, or I'm going to drop behind the bit, or I'm just like not freaking coming back. He's got to take the bridle more honestly first. So take a look at the exercise for horses who curl or whatever much cleverer title than that one of you guys came up with. But that one is something that I'm guessing is going to be very much up your street. Let's say that your horse is now touching the reins beautifully and still doesn't want to come back to 1. Trot walk transitions, trot walk transitions, trot walk transitions, trot walk transitions, forever till you die. I feel like this has sort of been the theme of my day. Actually, I'm helping a couple of people that are in the process of moving up to like 3rd, 4th level, sort of the in-between levels. And one of them said to me recently, I thought we'd work on the stuff a lot more. Like, man, we're doing a lot of trot canter transitions. And I was like, Grand Prix is made on trot canter transitions. Grand Prix is made on trot walk transitions. Stuff is easy. Quality of gait is hard. So if you ask for a half halt and don't get one, do a 9/10 halt. If you ask for the trot to become smaller and you get no answer, bring your horse back to the walk. And repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat until your horse is a little bit tranquil about the slowing down. And then, say, okay, horsey, we're going to walk again. And at the last second, change your mind and ride out. And all of a sudden, voila, you've got one trot, the trot 401. Also use your geometry, like make your circle smaller. If you're getting run away with, your horse has to try a lot harder to run away with you on a 10-meter circle than it does on a 20-meter circle.
So true. Truer words have never been spoken. So the person, and I'm trying to find the chat on Facebook so I know who is talking right now, but the person who said that they took that lesson yesterday, let us know what it's called, because I'm trying to find it. And I thought it would have been driving into the bridle, but I don't think it is that one.
Not that one. No, it's not that one.
Well, we'll find it, and I'll let you guys know what it's called as soon as there's a lot of Lauren lessons on the app, so there's a lot to go through. Awesome. Well, that's really helpful. And Lee's the one who said she did that one yesterday. That would be good. So Lee, the person who the video is of, did that one yesterday. So she is on the right track.
Excellent. Good job, Lee.
Killing it, Lee. You're ahead of the game. It's
hiding behind the contact. There we go. I was like, it was really good.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, it sounds like, Lee, that one is going to be a real game changer for you. So I'm glad that you found it. And hopefully that was helpful. So the next person is Krista. And let me pull up Krista's video. Okay. Krista said she's trying to learn how to sit the trot, and wow, it is not easy. Here's a clip of her lesson today where she was doing an eventing novice test A while trying to sit the trot, and she became so engrossed in the process that she went off course. Oops. Ding, ding, ding. I love this. I was wondering if you had any suggestions to get better at sitting the trot. And then she said, by the way, my lower back hurts after doing this exercise.
Super. I love causing people pain. That's really why I became a dressage trainer in the first place. There we go. I was going to say, boy, I am guessing that video was playing in slow motion a little bit. So, all right, here is the secret to sitting trot. You guys ready? Everybody get out their notepads. Everybody get it out. Everybody ready? Time. I know that's a bullshit answer, but I wish there was a silver bullet, but it's about logging a lot of sort of yucky, boring, tedious miles. Here are certainly a couple of pieces of the puzzle. Don't just decide like, all right, I'm gonna learn how to sit the trot today and just blast the hell off for 45 minutes, because you will be crippled and your horse will be crippled and you'll never want to ride a horse ever again. Don't do that. Treat it like our event riders do trot sets, 30 seconds and then a walk break, and 30 seconds and then a walk break, and 30 seconds and a walk break. And I assure you, I'm a tough ass dressage trainer. I'm a masochist. Like, I love suffering as much as the next guy. But when you fatigue muscles, you just end up practicing badly. So yeah, like, poke your comfort bubble, but don't beat it with a sledgehammer. Take it on for 10 seconds longer the next day. Take it on for 10 seconds longer the day after that. There is for sure something to exercising off horse. Exercising off horse is never the worst, never a bad idea. Like, we all should exercise and live longer. But the plank, where a lot of us go when we go to sitting trot, is to disconnect our abdomen and arc our low back, brace our low back. You said your back hurt. Sitting trot is way more about your tummy than it is about your back. And it's actually way more about your mid-thigh than it is about your back. Plank, done properly, is like the best off-horse abdominal workout I can think of. And it doesn't matter whether you're on your hands or whether you're on your forearms, or whether you're on a balance ball, like whatever makes your socks roll up and down. But there's out there on the internet, there's like 30-day plank challenges. Highly recommend. And it starts really simple. Go 15 seconds, go 30 seconds. But yes, sitting trot, plank is going to help you. And then just time.
Yeah, it is really hard. And there's also a lesson on the app from Lauren called How to Sit the Trot. And so that's a great place to start. But it is fair. Like, I think it's just going to be a matter of time and core strength. Is that fair? Fair to say?
Absolutely, for sure. Core strength and thigh strength. Coming soon to a theater near you, kids, because I just recorded it a few days ago, so I'm sure nobody's processed it yet at headquarters. Is a position cues lesson on the sitting trot. So.
Oh my gosh!
I know, because
Krista.
everyone's stealing my damn rider position videos or audios. Little
You know what they
twerp
say, Lauren? What is it called?
imitation
Something
is
is
the highest form of flattery.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah,
You, at
yeah,
least
it's called theft, you bastards.
Everyone loved your
On to you.
lesson so much that I prompted
They
every other
stole it.
coach to do one. Well, yes, they did. They stole the
Sorry, this is
idea.
on Facebook.
And yeah, but I'm looking forward to that one. And that one, the one in honor of the sitting trot, is now going to be dedicated to Krista Wilson. So somebody to look out for. Okay, so our next video is from the wonderful Lucy Drinkwater with the coolest last name of all time. So let's pull hers up. Lucy said they're competing at the third level and have spent the winter building up the basics. And she doesn't have any specific questions and is just looking for general feedback.
My first piece of feedback is a beautiful arena. Nice. Pumpkin patch.
And a beautiful horse. Oh man.
And a beautiful horse. I'm just watching. Certainly. Oh, I know whose arena this is. Lucy's from my neck of the woods. I was gonna say, golly, this looks familiar. I think. Yeah, that's Mike. Hi, Mike. So just right off the bat, you said, Lucy, exactly what I want to hear everybody say, which is, I'm working on moving up a level, so I'm focusing on the basics. Good on you. Take a picture of your horse without tack right now, because I promise it's going to be really fun to look at it again in 6 months when you've had even more time to really focus on the sitting and the lifting and the engagement of the back, that you're going to put a lot of top line on this horse. So in those canter walk transitions, for example, that last one that you just did right in front of us was super to watch, because you sat, you gathered him up, and right at the moment where things got really hard, his ass just went flying to the right. And he did that because he's, as you can see, like, he's just not finished building top line yet. He doesn't yet look like, the superior upper level athlete that you're making him into, because these things take time. And so, think about those things when you're in the hard moments, when you're really asking for a lot of collection. Double down on making sure that he stays straight. Double down on making sure that you can, take your leg off and put it back on, that you're not holding him into straightness. Provide him opportunities to fail. I think this is the hardest thing about this place in a horse's education, somewhere between like the first level place and the Prix St. George place, is this huge ocean of understanding the exercise, but not being strong enough to execute the exercise. And the worst thing we can do is like blast around and work on really hard collected stuff on horses that don't have the top line for it yet. Yeah, see, he goes flying to the right. So, he's going to the gym. You're going to do 10 million boring ass little canter walk transitions. And, put him on a 20-meter circle and canter for 3 strides and walk for 5 strides, and canter for 3 strides and walk for 5 strides. And the same thing in your collected trot, bring him back to smaller trot, bring him back to bigger trot. We don't get to see a ton of the trot in this video, but, play with his body. That 1 through 5 exercise that we just talked about with the last one, how a horse executes that work as a first level horse versus how that horse executes that work as a third level horse versus a St. George horse versus a Grand Prix horse. Like, the athletic capacity just increases over time, but it's the same idea that you can smush his body and expand his body. And that's going to build the top line to make it possible to smush his body more and expand his body more. So your horse is going to the gym this winter. Good boy.
He's beautiful. I would love an update on that top line photo. So if you take one now and you want to share it with us, you know where to find us. That's awesome. And they look like they're going places. I can tell.
This is the
Okay.
part where it gets really fun. Like, this is my favorite stage of development. So enjoy, Lucy.
Yeah, absolutely. And Amber is asking in chat, she said, do you have any tips for horses that anticipate the walk canter transition?
Keep riding forward. Whatever they want to do, don't do that. So if he goes to quit on you, kick his ass and go forward. If he wants to canter instead of staying patiently in the walk, walk forever. Basically, until your horse says, yes, I will let you drive, do anything other than what they want to do. Like parenting.
Exactly like that. Okay. Our next wonderful participant is Julia. Julia says, she said, this is me and Blue doing a novice test from this past June. She said, our two biggest problems are, one, keeping him connected and loose in the canter. He gets very tight and pogo sticky. And two, at shows, it's hard to get him in front of the leg without him just getting fast. So any tips to help us warm up forward but relaxed would be great.
Drugs. No, that's a joke. Definitely a joke. Please, USEF, don't come for me. He's a cutie. Grass arenas, you event riders, bless your hearts. We don't have to do that anymore in dressage land. I'm just watching a little bit. I'm not ignoring you all. I realize I'm like all up in my computer screen. Sorry, you guys get a good look at my forehead. Okay, another event rider who's like, my canter's a train wreck, and it's beautiful. So you all can like take a deep breath. It's all going to be okay. Oh, you have stalled out. Oh,
it's just the first part of the part of the test. So I'm just
that's okay. So I only got to see a little bit, but like I was waiting for a disaster and didn't get one. So like, yay, good for you. But certainly, there are horses out there that can get caught up in the environment. I've got all kinds of exercises for that. I think, as we talked about in the first couple, like you make sure that you can put your leg on and take it off. You make sure that you can move around. Here is my question to you. Are you nervous when you go to the horse show? They are flight animals. They're herd animals. And, unless you are a steely-eyed missile man, like your energy probably comes up when you are riding off property. So my challenge to all of us is like, check that early and often. Am I being patient? Am I being, am I breathing? Am I breathing? I just had students at a horse show today and I kept being like, guys, oxygen, like you can do it. And let's be clear, like my number one problem at a horse show is that I get in there and I'm like, I'm going to kill it, which is not actually how we should do these things. So if you think that you're alone in this, think again. But yeah, like I'm looking at this beautiful canter. So you officially have my permission to cut yourself some slack, ma'am. And yeah, if you are like the most ice water in your veins rider ever, then cool, my hat off to you. You should give me some lessons on how you get that way. But if not, there's a couple of really good sports psychology chats in the app. And just make sure you're breathing. Make sure that you're not putting any of your horse show adrenaline into your horse.
Yeah. One thing we were on included in the sports psychology chats are within the lessons tab, and there's a bunch of really awesome lessons from Ashley Johnson, a sports psychology coach, and they're like really, really helpful in just like helping you kind of frame your nerves in a different way. But Lauren also did a 5-minute pre-ride meditation that one of our customer discovery calls, like last week, I think one of our members said that she listens to it like every time before she rides. So it's very helpful, Lauren. You're a jack of all trades, though. We all knew that before I said it. Awesome. Well, beautiful, beautiful test from what we could see, Julia. Rebecca is our next up. So, oh my gosh. Wow, this is the cutest horse. Okay. Carly is 3.5 years old and just started under saddle late summer, early fall 2022. She's bringing her along to be her next event horse. She is on the lazier side, but is starting to understand that leg pressure means go. She is light in the bridle and can be fussy at times, which can be expected as a youngster, but her go-to is to go behind the vertical. Her question is, do you have any tips to help prevent this? And her other question is, do you have any specific exercises you like to do with your young horses?
Well, Rebecca, I have bad news for you, and that is that this horse is obviously a piece of shit, and you just shouldn't waste any more time with it. And I suppose, out of the goodness of my heart, you can just drop it off at my house, and I will spare you the trouble of having to feed this awful piece of crap.
Me too. The offer stands on my part too.
Hands off, Kinsey. I saw it first. So you know what solves all problems with 3-year-olds? Turning 4. Sometimes your 3-year-old horse doesn't touch the bit. Many of them don't. They're fetuses. They are babies. They couldn't find their ass with both hands in a map. And then you add a rider. They're just not there yet. And doesn't mean that you shouldn't think about it. Of course you should think about it. Of course you should make sure, particularly on a young horse, that your equipment fits well. You know, you're dealing with an animal that is changing shape pretty much every day. If you have teenage children, I mean, it's like watching a teenage boy walk down a flight of stairs. Like, their legs are a different way from their brains every day. Make sure that your bit fits well. Make sure that your bridle fits well. Make sure that the bit is where it needs to be in the horse's mouth. Dentistry, you know, make sure that they're seeing the dentist. You know, the sort of recommended dentistry for horses is between 6 months, every 6 months and 12 months. On the young horses, sometimes I do it more often, mostly because I have a dentist that goes, nope, you're good, and then doesn't charge me anything, which is great. But they're evolving so fast. You know, set your expectations really low on, like, go straight, go forward, go to the bit. Make sure that you're thinking about steering out in front of you and not back from the bit, because the horse is not educated. You know, we should all be thinking forward anyway, but certainly, you know, with a baby horse that's still trying to find its own ass, like, forward, forward, forward. You can play a little bit with bits. You can play a little bit with nose bands. You can play a little bit with more turning. I think that the hides behind the contact exercise that we talked about earlier, my Frisian exercise, like, not for babies. That's too much turning. That's too much happening too fast in a horse that's barely broke. Patience, young thing. So many problems get solved by the tincture of time. And I assure you that I'm part of team, like, you better, you know, work your young horses wisely, because there's windows that close. You can't love them too much, and you got to push on, and blah, 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 blah. But, like, 3.5 for not perfectly going to the bridle, try not to lose sleep over it. Easy for me to say.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, Carly, wow. She is adorable. And Rebecca, I think you owe all of us to give us more Carly content in the group, because I think that was the first time I've seen anything of Carly, and I like what I see. So
and it was hard to see because the video was little, but I think that in addition to the spots, Carly has the hair. Carly looks like she's got a big tail and big fluffy boots. So, like, clearly we need more Carly hair.
Right. Yeah. That's the moral of this whole this whole Ask an Expert event, is we need more Carly in our lives. Okay. So our next video is Heidi, and this has been the most efficient video review we've ever done. So I think we're going to get to all the videos, or we are going to get to all the videos. Okay.
Smarter, not harder.
Exactly. So this is Heidi. She said she's not especially proud of this dressage test, but it's their last full-length videoed ride, so it's likely the most fair representation of where Kitty and I are at. She's uncharacteristically spooky and reactive in this test. Goes to show anything can happen on competition day. If it fits into the video review tonight, great. So great. This is test 2022, beginner novice test A, and I think she's just looking for general feedback.
Yes. We plan, God laughs. Horses love it when we plan, because they go, you think you're in charge, you cute. My hat off to all of you event riders who ride anything bigger than 11 hands tall in a 20 by 40 ring. I would just die, for the record. Like, it's just mean-spirited that this is what they do to you. So little things. First of all, I'm waiting for the spooky whatever. But like you weren't all the way on the wall. On your first 20-meter circle wasn't 20 meters wide. But like waiting for it is, but like you weren't all the way on the wall. On your first. Sorry, I can hear me in my ear, which threw me off for a second. Well, I'm waiting for the spooky train wreck, and I'm not seeing the spooky train wreck, so maybe it's coming in a second. All of you guys are so hard on yourselves, and I assure you that I am the queen of being hard on myself, and you guys are all making me look like I'm the nicest person ever. Everybody take a breath. It's all going to be okay. Also, what are you doing riding a chestnut mare named Kitty? Are you out of your mind? Sounds like a good way to die. Video stalled out for a second. There we go. Sorry, South Florida internet is a fascinating thing. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. And once again, shoes are not dropping. Maybe things are about to get exciting. Are you about to pick up the canner? Something else that I was going to say was that earlier in the ride, you weren't on the correct posting diagonal. And that's, it's not like, oh my God, you're going to get points off for that. But just, see, I say it and then it happens. Okay, that was a little colorful. You know what? Sometimes it's not your day. And certainly, I didn't see that coming until all of a sudden it was happening. So, maybe she caught you by surprise too, or maybe you did feel it in there. And you do have to just make the most of the horse that comes with you down center line, right? Like it's not always the ride you want. But right up until that stupidity, like all of this looked fluid and soft and pleasant. And, as in all things, as I've said over and over again, the secret to a good dressage test is to make it most look like what the judge wants to take home and ride for themselves, and make it look as easy as possible. And so, you've got this horse that seems to accept the contact well. You've got this horse that seems to go forward from your leg. Make sure that she's standing upright around your turns. Sometimes she comes to the corners a little bit leaning in like motocross instead of standing upright like the ballet. Obviously, we would prefer it if Kitty did not buck into canter, but sometimes them's the breaks. Here, your reins are a little long, just like little details. And I know you said this is, one of the crummier tests you've had. So like, hey, that means your floor is a lot of people's ceiling. Good job. Look where you're going. Yeah, and I was just sort of joking about that, but not really. Like, look where you're going. Look around your turns. Be thinking 5 meters, 10 meters from wherever you are, so that you have time to ride good, balanced, upright turns. You have time to, prepare good transitions. We dressage riders all want to ride like, we're going forward out there, focus on the destination, not on the journey, except when we ride tests. Then we're all too much in the moment. Nope, it's not the journey, it's the destination. Focus on the destination.
And Jane is asking for any tips on getting them more upright.
Spirals in and out. That's the one exercise that I keep meaning to steal from everybody else, and I haven't done it yet. So Jane, I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'll get right on it. Amazing. Maybe I have done spiral. I don't know. I don't remember. But yes, I love spiraling out. And I think there's a couple of us that do lessons on corners where, you think about like turning a meter early and then leg yielding out as a schooling exercise.
Yeah, you definitely have the corner exercise. If you just search corner in the app, you're going to get Lauren's exercise. Jen has an exercise. Oh, balancing in the corner and walk trot is Lauren's exercise.
Obviously,
you also have what was that?
Obviously, mine's better than everybody else's corner.
Obviously, yeah, that goes without being said. And then we also just got a question that says, when should you start in hand work for half steps?
If you're asking, the answer is you shouldn't, because if you're asking when you should start them, then you don't know how to start them, and that's pretty serious business. You should work with a trainer to help you do that. When do I start them? I actually don't teach my horses in hand, which makes me a little bit of a weirdo. I often start them under saddle, but my general rule of thumb is somewhere between 5 and 8, depending on the horse, depending on their athletic ability. And it is very, very, very much a slow, playful process, not like well, you're old enough, I'm going to teach you how to pee off today, kabam. Yeah, don't take that on unless you know what you're doing, because undoing that and flying changes, you screw those up and you are in for a rough, expensive road.
Absolutely. Perfect. Well, our next video is Keegan, and I'll pull her up. So Keegan is riding her horse Bones. He's a 12-year-old off-the-track thoroughbred, and this is in a novice test, and she's just looking for general feedback and how to get him to be more up in the bridle. Apologies. English is hard for me right now.
Ooh, Keegan, I'm sorry, you are very little and tiny in this video. But let's talk about up in the bridle as sort of a general concept. At the end of the day, uphill-ness and uphill posture is a little bit dictated by the horse's conformation. That doesn't mean that you can't. I think if you watch the trot up at the Olympics, you're going to see a lot of funky looking conformations for sure. But there is a limit to the amount of up in the bridle that you can achieve, and that's based on how upright in the shoulder and how collected and upright in the posture you can ask your horse to be. I'm really sorry, Keegan. This is a really teeny tiny little U on an upright screen. So I'm sorry that my wisdom is not going to be more specific about you and rather broad advice. But I do a lot of small circles around a big circle to help rock the horse's balance back and help them sit down. I do a lot of shallow loops, both at the trot and the canter, that helps a horse sort of shorten its center of balance right and left. And just tincture of time. Sorry, there's like one gnat in my apartment. It's here now. Tincture of time, teaching them to sit and collect. We're breeding these like, oh my God, incredible moving, sport horses that come out of the womb looking like the fanciest moving thing you've ever seen. And that's neat. I hope to buy some someday when I have $10 billion. But we are able to put gait into a horse and expression and power into a horse through correct development as well. If you watched any of the video of Jessica von Brado-Vendel's Olympic individual gold medal winning horse Dalera, from the last Olympic Games, there was a video going around the internet of Dalera when she was 7, looking like the most delightful adult amateur normal moving horse you've ever met. Not normal moving like nice warm blood, but still, like, she looks like anything that I would have had any of my adult amateur ladies buy to like take home and be a nice girl. And Jessica just developed the horse really correctly. Lots of teaching her about engagement and self-carriage and balance, and dressage makes them more beautiful. So collection, time, shorten your reins there in that corner. I could see you really easily. It's also really easy to fall down when your reins are too long. The uprightness is at least a little bit dependent on, are your reins short enough? Otherwise, they're going to go out to the bridle, with the bridle being too far away. But yeah, time and collection. It's amazing. It's amazing how much fancy you can put on a normal moving horse through really correct development. And it makes them stronger and sounder too. If they come out of the womb moving like this, that's a lot of torque on little baby tendons and ligaments. I think that you'll see a lot more horses that can trot like bloody hell when they're older teenage FEI horses that have a trot that has been trained into them rather than a trot that was born. So yeah, uprightness comes a little bit from conformation and a lot from sticking it out long enough to teach them how to carry themselves like ballet dancers.
Lauren, when you have a student who just like consistently has issues with riding with their reins too long, is there anything that you like, any little like tape on the reins or anything that you do besides just continuing to tell them to shorten the reins?
Shorten your damn reins. Absolutely. I'll do colored tape. My mom wins the award for cleverest solution to this problem. She gets wax braiding thread in the color of the reins and makes a knot that blends right into the leather of the reins, so the judge doesn't see it. And I was like, well, that's stinking brilliant. Way to go, Mom. My mom did her first Grand Prix test today. Can we have like a quick Rod IQ round of applause for Judy Sprieser?
That's amazing. How did it go?
Not as well as the second one's going to go because that's normal. That is not about my mom. I assure you, my first Grand Prix test also sucked a lot of ass. But yeah, my mom is 69 years old, guys. Keep going. You never know.
That is so amazing. Wow. I mean, I couldn't even ever dream of doing a Grand Prix dressage test. So that is like the coolest thing ever. Has she been riding forever?
Judy and I took our first riding lessons together when I was about 9, and she would have been, I'm not going to say how old she was.
Wow.
We don't do that to our moms.
Well, you did just say how old she is.
That's fair. That's true. All right. Sorry, Mom. She's not listening. It's fine. Nobody tell her.
Say how old she was.
Code of silence.
How old you are.
That's it.
There you go. Yep. Well, congratulations to your mom. Let her know that we are all rooting for her, and that is the coolest thing ever. And Keegan, not to jump off of your test, because I thought that my opinion on that was that bones looked very beautiful. So if I was your dressage test, you would have gotten a lot of beautiful, beautiful marks. Dressage judge. Did I say dressage test? I don't even know. I don't even know what's going through my head anymore. Well, Lauren, that was the last one of the evening, and we're about 6 minutes before the hour. So we could either give you 6 minutes of your life back, or if there's any soapbox that you want to get on, we're happy to give you the floor. Or I can ask you questions, but let me know.
I was gonna say, I don't get me started on a soapbox. Nobody needs that tonight. It'll go bad direction. I found the chat. I see a couple of questions. I see a couple or comments rather. So like, hey, y'all have questions. Send them in.
Yeah. If anyone has any additional questions, there's a lot of activity happening, but I think I've hit all the ones that the actual like direct questions. But yeah, if you guys have any questions in the chat. Otherwise, Lauren, do you have a favorite cuisine of food?
Yes, anything edible. That's my favorite kind.
Oh,
the inedible food is really not so great. I can tell you that there is this taco restaurant in Royal Palm Beach, Florida called Papi Chulo's that makes a couple different things that come in a tamarind glaze that I spend the other 8 months of the year that I'm not here creating because it's so freaking good. And my like kitchen achievement, as I think I duplicated the sauce yesterday, and it is so good. It is tamarind paste, and I use keto honey because I'm a no sugar person, but like honey and a little fish sauce, a little jalapeno, and a little ginger, and a little garlic, and like, I would eat my shoe in this sauce. It is so good. I put it over air fried cauliflower, which is one of the ways in which it is served at Papi Chulo's. But the other thing they do with it is they put it over fried alligator in a taco. And yeah, and gator is awesome. Gator is like lemony, salty chicken. And I mean, if you fry anything, it's edible. Like you could fry my shoe and put it in that tamarind sauce and it would be just chef's kiss. But
chef's kiss.
Yep. Alligator. When in Florida, y'all, you got to do it.
I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to try that, but I would try the
Get more from
cauliflower.
me.
I'm a sucker for cauliflower.
Well, there you go.
That sounds
Tamarind sauce.
delightful. Are you, I mean, I guess since you're a no sugar person, you're a savory rather than sweet?
Oh no, I would love all of the sweet things, but my Scandinavian ancestry means that sugar makes me A, beloved to be the size of the Chinese spy balloon, and B, makes all my joints hurt. So yeah, no real sugar for me. Womp womp.
Wow. That's okay though. I'm savory all day, every day, right over sweet, and I think it's better that way. So I'm not. Someone really liked your comment about the shoe and the sauce, but that's the only extra activity that we've had so far. And someone else just said if you could share the tamarind sauce recipe, which you kind of indicated what it was, but
yeah, for sure. I made up all the proportions, so you're gonna have to like experiment a little bit. But like, yeah, I stole it from I think like a Food and Wine magazine tamarind glaze recipe, and then I just experimented with what I wanted. Florida man who harvests alligator meat. I mean, I live in Florida, so like I'm around Florida man all the time. We have 2 minutes. I can tell the story. I had a boyfriend who was stationed in Afghanistan with the State Department, and like Afghanistan, not close to the United States. And one day he texts me and he says, "So I just read this article in Al Jazeera America about this guy that I think is in your hometown, in your town in Florida." And sure enough, Al Jazeera America had coverage that day of a guy who drove through the Burger King in Waxahachie, Florida, and grabbed the 3-foot-long alligator out of his front seat and threw it through the drive-through window. It made the news in Afghanistan. So Waxahachie, it's just what it is.
Wow, that's something to be proud of. That's awesome. That's where you live, Lauren. That's great.
I am here voluntarily.
Yeah, that's awesome. Amber is saying that is asking a serious question and whether or not you have plans to write a comedy book.
The secret to my writing success is that I can't ever work on a deadline. I don't edit anything. And if you give me a prompt, I will probably write anything but that. I am the least disciplined writer you've ever met in your life. And it's why I can't do it for a living. Like, in all deadly seriousness, I find I'm an incredibly talented writer. It is a gift from some higher being, which is why I can't wield it like a job. I think that very rarely do I meet people that are unbelievably talented and disciplined about it at the same time. And so, yeah, I'm a lawless writer. I have sat down to try and write books many, many times and never gotten anywhere. So sorry.
Jane's asking if you have any books that you refer to for dressage education.
I must confess that I don't learn well by reading. And so I'm not a huge dressage reader. I also sort of have enough of dressage at the end of the day that I don't want to read anything for fun. But there is a really good one. I think it's Walter Zettel's Dressage in Harmony is certainly one of those books that I know that I read as a kid and was like, wow, this really sounds like everything that I believe, which was nice. And then I think it's Beth Baumert's book about when spines align, which is kind of a neat sort of biomechanics for dummies. Because I've read some biomechanics articles where I'm like, whoa, too much like physics, needs to be more like sports. Beth did a nice job of making it more like sports. I think it was Beth. If it was somebody else, sorry.
Awesome. And I know I have to let you go here because it's 7, but I do have a real question because Jessa had asked Skylar. So Skylar works for Lauren and also like helps Red IQ a ton. And
Yes.
Jessa asked Skylar, like, where does Lauren get this like vocabulary? Like, were you born with this, or was it something that you like gained over time? Like, where did this come from? Your brilliance.
John and Judy Sprieser, my parents are not dumb people for sure. And reading was very much a part of my childhood. Not reading about dressage, but we were big readers in my household. I think certainly it helps that I grew up at it. I'm old enough to have grown up without much of the internet in my house as a very young child. But I read a ton I'm pretty smart, and I have a real college degree. I have a BA in public policy and urban planning. But even by in the time that I realized that horses were going to be my occupation, I was serving time. I mean, working for London Gray, and London's whole thing was like, you can't just be a dumb horse trainer. You have to read the newspaper. You have to read books. You have to have something other than this. A, because horses will make you crazy, and B, because you're boring if all you know is horses. So yes, I read a lot. I now don't read as much as I should, but you have to have something other than horses, and that's probably where the vocabulary comes from. Plus Wordle. Wordle's great.
Wordle is great. Are you like every day very religious?
Like a crazy person. Absolutely.
Got it. And what's your bell curve? Are you mostly threes?
Mostly threes. I've gotten it in one once.
Me too.
My husband's gotten in one, a couple of times, because he likes to change his opening word every day because he's a crazy person.
As you should. I mean, you're never gonna get it. You're never gonna get it in one if you don't. You don't.
Nope. Don't mess with
Lauren.
the system. I'm a dressage rider, man. Like there's a system.
Yeah. Well, do you remember what your one was? I guess it's the one you start with every day.
Slate.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Well, on that note, this has been an absolute pleasure, and I really appreciate all you guys for submitting your videos, because that was so much fun and I learned a lot. And Lauren, just sharing your expertise is always such an honor for all of us. So thank you so much. And yeah, we'll be back here next Tuesday for the next Ask an Expert episode. And Lauren, thank you so much, and looking forward to your next lessons, because they're always amazing. So we appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Wonderful. Have a great night, everyone. Talk to you soon.